Big Questions with the Dead Milkmen. Hello, hi, I didn't see you come in. If you just joined us, it's time for another song challenge. Just to give you folks the genesis, I swear to God, I never mentioned Genesis during one of these shows, and I did it. But this is Genesis with Peter Gabriel, not Phil Collins. To give you the genesis of what happened, my wife and I, after 20 years, finally bought a decent vacuum cleaner, which is how this starts. And the vacuum cleaner looked like a synthesizer, and the manual was like, you had to read the manual for a long time. It was like a synthesizer manual, and which was good for me because I collect manuals. I have manuals for stuff from the 80s that doesn't even exist anymore. And like, I have every manual for everything I've ever owned. I like reading manuals. I started thinking about manuals and Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, which we don't recommend that you read. It's not that great. But the idea was, I asked the guys who decided for the challenge, make a song based on a manual. So if you're watching this, I hope you've grasped that concept because that's what we have coming up. So my song is based on the vacuum cleaner manual, which started all this, and we will show you a clip of it now, and then I will answer questions. So brace yourselves, gird your loins. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reclining handle, the stability wand, the stabilizer wheels, it's like being James Bond. Before using this appliance, read all of the instructions and the cautionary markings in the manual. Before using this appliance, read all of the instructions and treat those words like they're in the Bible. We are back, and I forgot to mention, to make the challenge a little tougher on myself, I gave myself an extra challenge, which was only use one synthesizer VST. So I used a synthesizer VST called Flex, and that's just made it a little bit tougher on myself. And I wanted the whole thing to sound like there was a horn section going in the background, like Ring of Fire, like a weird demented horn section. I hope I got that effect.
I like the solo that Anton plays.
Anton is so good. I often DJ with Anton, and Anton has gotten more requests to DJ. They don't seem to understand that I show up with Anton, and Anton just usually hangs out in the DJ booth. People actually think he DJs. But yeah, he was, quick explanation for that. I was working on about 30 different things. I had, and I had to do it the other weekend. I had to take like an entire weekend and just finish a mix that is due later on this month just because I'm so backed up on stuff. So I figured out my time for this, and I realized I had like 3 hours max to film the video. So I thought, what do I do? And I thought of Anton because I had used a text-to-speech synthesizer at the end to do that weird don't put water in the canister thing, which the vacuum company is very clear on. So I went and I...
sure about that.
Yeah, they're really, yeah. But you can actually clean the canister, which, but you just have to take it apart, because I have cleaned the canister. So I went and I thought, well, what can I do? And Dean, you'll be happy because you'll see there's a windscreen there, a pop screen in the thing. I thought, well, what can I do? Well, I have Anton in it, and then I thought about doing that. But then I realized that I had to make it work, I had to record the vocal thing in one take. Couldn't chop it up. That's not a great take. Eventually I positioned the windscreen so you really couldn't see my mouth, because every time I would look at the monitor and see Anton, I'd start cracking up. And then when I filmed the reason his hand slides off on when he's DJing is because by that point I totally just lost it and just started busting up. So, and then also right after I came up with the manual idea, Ken Marshall, who does the producer guy, had put out a video called "Read the Manual," and I thought, and that's why you hear Ken say that.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, so that's Ken Marshall. He won't sue. And yeah, and I was just I thought, well, that's a sign. So yeah, so that is where we are with that. So that explains why I did my thing. Now, tonight's order, by the way, is me, Joe, Dan, Dean. So before I hand things over to Joe, you people are in for a real treat. In fact, I'm just going to preface it by saying My brother makes good head cheese. You'd like it. Okay, Joe, explain yourself.
I decided to make a video based on the manual of Craftsman electric chainsaw.
Do you want to show the video and then
Yeah,
explain yourself?
let's look at it.
Yeah, okay. In 5, 4, 3, 2. What comes after 2? 1.
Electric chainsaw, electric chainsaw, electric chainsaw, electric chainsaw. Congratulations on the purchase of your new electric chainsaw. It is the finest electric chainsaw available for the price you have paid, which could not have been less. We ask that you take a few minutes to read the following instructions so that you can enjoy your chainsaw and avoid serious injury, which could include death.
It's quite the video, Joe.
Oh, thank
Okay,
you.
you're back.
The kids were
Yes.
walking around the house singing "Electric Chainsaw." Yeah, it's catchy.
I have a fear of chainsaws after watching Scarface.
I want to put a poll in the question thing over like what the 4 best chainsaw films are. Look, see what I'm doing? I'm doing Chop Top from
Texas
Texas
Chainsaw Massacre number 2. That's
yeah,
a good
Texas
one.
Chainsaw Massacre 2, Chop Top.
Dog will hunt.
Dean, I actually worked for a summer with chainsaws, and it was like my uncle, who has now passed away, had hooked me up with this job, and every guy I worked with had a horrific injury. They are terrible. Yeah, they are. So, Joe.
Well, the manual is actually very informative.
Yes.
I had to cut some trees down in the yard, and I was looking for the Black & Decker manual, and I came across the Craftsman manual instead. But it seemed that it didn't really matter that it wasn't for the chainsaw we had, because it was almost all-purpose guide for this is how you cut down a tree, this is how you cut down the logs, this is how you do this, and this is how you do that. And I was rather impressed.
I like the fact it includes the instruction about not cutting through flesh or bone.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's like when you go to make a Skype call and get that little thing, Skype is not supposed to be used for emergency. Like, who's calling 911 going, hey, look at my roommate over here with the chainsaw. Oh, can you send the cops over? Nobody uses Skype. Yeah, if you're using Skype for emergency,
It's really only for
you
wood.
die.
Although I did some research for the video and learned that the original chainsaw invention was actually made for cutting bone. It was a surgical tool. It wasn't electric, but they don't use them anymore in surgery. They stopped in the 19th century. But in the early 1900s, it became a tool for cutting wood. And they also make chainsaws, special ones for cutting cement and stone, but not these ones. They'll be damaged.
Yeah, it was recently pointed out that in a chainsaw is the worst thing to be in a fight with because anything will block it. If you throw anything pretty much into the rotating area,
Right, it messes up.
Yeah.
But of course, these are great movies. Like they're great props.
Yeah, they are good prop. So yeah, that's my thing. I decided I would put that into the comment section because I have 4 chainsaw movies that I love, and I would just let people debate them. This won't be one of them, though. Love that movie, though. All right, so Dan, what did you get up to with your manual?
So I somehow again messed up and thought last week was when the song was due, and I had literally nothing. And so I got home from work, and my friend Ben was like, I'll watch the kids for you while you work on the song. And I was like, all right. And I did it in like 2 hours. And I just grabbed the manual for this electric knife sharpening set. And it was a lot of detail in it. I had to cut a lot of it out, and there was a lot of warnings too. But it just, the way that it was so descriptive of how to do it, it was so overly complicated. I remember when I originally got it, I was like, oh, so you just do this. But like, it's such a long process. But so then and then I didn't have the video done, and I talked to you guys, and I was like, it's not even due this week. So I was like, I got all week to do it. Yeah, well, I had to have some procedures done, so I was kind of like out of it, and other stuff happened. So then yesterday I was like, shit, I got to do the video. So I did the video that we'll watch some of them.
Now,
So by the way, we're showing 30-second clips, but then we link to all the videos. Joe's trying to count down. Joe's going 2, 1. All right, here it comes.
2.
Keep the sharpener close at hand so that you can enjoy the pleasure of sharp knives every day. To sharpen, place the sharpener on the table, gripping it securely with your left hand. Push on the power switch. Insert the knife blade near its handle into the left slot and allow the left face of the blade to rest on the left face of the slot as you pull the knife towards you.
And we're back from the 30-second clip. Remember, again, the full videos will be out there. This is how we get 5 videos for 1 video, folks. So, and question for you, and I should have asked Joe this too. What instrumentation did you use to make that?
That was from a keyboard. Well, I used the beat was from FL Studio. I always like write little beats and stuff. It was an old Yamaha. It's like from the 90s. It's huge. It's one of these big ones that has like a big screen and it's got, you know, songs and stuff. And yeah, that's it. And then I just kind of read, you know.
Your narration, I almost thought it was JP Incorporated.
Oh.
The way you're talking, you were like impersonating him.
It was very Dario Argento, very giallo. I expected the gloved hand to grab the knife.
Yeah, the voice, like I do that kind of stuff. That's my like announcer kind of voice.
Yeah.
Every single time channeling Phil Hartman in my head. Like I always just like have a
like an infomercial.
R.I.P.
yeah, I actually need a knife sharpener. I don't know. Maybe I should invest in one of those.
It's all right. I mean,
You got me
don't
sold.
judge it by the last shot. That's not the work of it. Like you actually, I didn't get time to do stage 2. So.
I know what Dean used to make his. We're going to go to Dean now, but I have a lot of questions for Dean. So Dean, talk away.
Okay, so I decided to make a song about the manual for the Elektron Model samples, which is like a drum machine, a sample-based drum machine Groovbox. And the manual is pretty easy to understand. The drum machine is really cool, and I like it a lot. But reading the manual, like in the very beginning of the manual, there's a page that gives you kind of like the way the manual is laid out. And they show these little icons that you'll see throughout the instructions. And the third one just said, "Butterflies are pretty." I was like, what?
That is a weird, yeah. Here's 30 seconds worth of it, and then I have a bunch of questions about that.
All right, check it out.
5, 4, look at the eye. 3, 2, 1.
Switch it on and quickly create a rhythm. Then twist it to your liking. Playing a sample chromatically adds musical variety to your beats.
And we are back. Dean, they should pay you to allow them to use that, because I was on the fence about it. People were asking me about it because I do a lot of FN synth stuff, and I didn't know about Groovbox, and I saw the things for it. But the one best thing, I need to know if this is true, about this, I think it's the cycles. Is it true that they use RPG settings? So some of the stuff is like charisma, dexterity, magic.
Not in the samples.
Oh, sample. I'm thinking the cycles. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have the first one they put out last year sometime, I guess, or maybe it's now 2 years old. I don't know. But it's a sample based, so it's it's like you can load your own samples onto it. It doesn't actually have a microphone input. You can't actually record on the box, but you can use your computer and you could load up different drum kits and any samples that you want, really. And it's quite easy to use. Like, I don't know if electronic musicians out there, Elektron makes a lot of really cool synths and groove boxes. But for me, the workflow has always looked like it's too complicated, lots of menu diving and stuff. And when this came out, I was like, wow, you got a knob per function mostly on the top panel there, so it's really easy to use. And all the sounds in my song came from a drum kit that I put together on the model samples. And you can actually hook up I used a MIDI keyboard to play some of the melody type sounds and that kind of thing. And so they're overdubs. I did use my DAW, which is Cubase, to add layers to it, but all the sounds that you hear on it, besides my voice, come from that one drum kit on the box itself.
It sounds like pre-production era Human League, which is a great. I love that era of the Human League. So
the weird thing is that little icon of what sort of looks like a butterfly is shown to you at the beginning of the manual, and then strangely it only appears once in the rest of the manual, and it's like has some like factual little piece of information that's good to know about how to operate the unit. They didn't really exploit the butterflies are free option they had open to them. So
I have a buddy who is obsessed with Elektron material, and back when the clubs were open before COVID, I would get these things at like 2 a.m. LA time. We won't say who he is. He's a musician, and they would say Rodney, I'm home from the club, and you can almost hear the slur. I think I'm going to go online and buy and I'd be like, no. But I've noticed I think drum purchases, because the clubs are closed, are down. Because if the clubs were still open, there'd be a Minilog XD sitting behind me. But because the clubs are closed, I'm not coming home going, you know what I need? So yeah, I really need to revisit that Elektron sample, because I know a lot of people that like those.
So yeah, it was fun to put together, and I cut the video together with scenes from the DAW and the unit itself. So yeah, it was great. It was fun.
I think Joe's going to win for most disturbing video. That's really that'll keep you up at night. So,
well, the Flex is very versatile because it sounds like it's more than just one thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
The synthesizer Rodney used.
The Flex it's more than one thing. It's got a bunch of different, I was impressed by it because I'd seen people use it, and I'd seen a video on it, and I thought, I haven't used this yet, and it comes free, and so I managed to grab a whole bunch of free things that people have made. Oh, there's Joe showing the Flex.
You didn't ask me what I used, but I mostly use FL Studio's drum kit, and again, Thor on the iPad. And
first, I'm going to give you an anti-recommendation. And then I'm going to move to a real one. Excuse me, I'm taking my smoothie and moving it over here. So Vienna and I had settled in last weekend, like most intellectual couples, to watch Love After Lockup. And during Love After Lockup, a commercial came on for Peter Popoff's Miracle Spring Water. And Vienna quickly grabbed my glass of wine because she knew I was going to throw it at the TV. I had thought Peter Popoff, much like smallpox and moose syphilis, had been wiped off the face of the earth. But no, he's still out there selling bullshit. And I saw this the day after James Randi's 91st birthday. For you younger people who are watching this, you might not be familiar. James Randi is a genius magician. Thank you. Knew I'd get that right. Genius magician. I'm not even drinking. Who debunks a lot of things. So he had gone at one point on The Tonight Show in the 80s. And what Peter Popoff used to do was he would go and he would lay hands to heal people. And he'd say, there's a woman out there. Her name is Agnes. She lives at, and wow, how did he do this? Well, James Randi figured it out. Peter Popoff had an earpiece in. And his wife would hang out in the crowd and meet these people. And so he had the earpiece in, and she would go, all right, the woman to the left in the flowered dress, her name is Agnes, and he would repeat this stuff. Now, here's the thing. There were African-American people in the ad for the Miracle Spring Water. When Peter Popoff and his wife were doing the earpiece thing, they were using racial slurs, or she was, left and right. He seemed happy with them. So, yeah, he's scum. And he's still out there doing it. I don't know if you can contact your state's attorney general. I don't know what they can do about it. But what you can do is this. James Randi, who recently turned 91, is a hero. So we'll put a link to the James Randi Foundation. Just tell people how great James Randi is and share the story of him busting Peter Popoff. Because again, Peter Popoff sells bullshit. Let me just check my notes here. Yes, my notes do indeed say Peter Popoff sells bullshit. Thank you.
Do you have a recommendation?
The recommendation is the James Randi Educational Foundation. And we'll put
Gotcha.
that in. The anti-recommendation is Peter Popoff's Spring Water. And no, don't do that.
Understood.
I recommend a movie. It's a zombie movie. It's a comedy, and it's Japanese. And you may have seen it already, but it came out, I guess it came out in Japan in 2017, but it came out in the United States on DVD anyway in 2019, last year, dubbed in English. So that's its own comedy itself. And it's also funny, and it's lighthearted, and it's a feel-good zombie comedy called One Cut of the Dead.
I kept thinking it was Final Cut of the Dead, but it's One Cut of the
No,
Dead.
One Cut of the Dead.
It is very good.
Cool.
Right. Dan, you have a recommendation?
I would recommend if you've never had anesthesia before, don't plan on working the next day.
No.
I know all the drugs I've taken in my life. I thought I'll be fine. Yeah, I felt like I was having like a waking nightmare the whole day. Like the procedure was 2 hours. I had to get a colonoscopy and an endoscopy, not with the same camera. And it was like 2 hours, but I don't remember any of it. But afterwards, I was just like nasty to everybody. And then I was like cold and hot and tired and not, and hungry, but not. And I was like vomiting. It was awful. So I guess, yeah, my recommendation is give yourself another full day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend that went through the same thing, and he never misses work, and he had to take 2 days off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dean, do you have any medical advice for the young people?
Well, I do have a medical advice. Like if you, after you reach a certain age, like age 50, I do recommend that you regularly get a colonoscopy every 3 to 5 years. It's just very wise to do that. Anyway, I'll move on from the medical advice.
Especially with the imagery, with the hand.
I don't play it. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on YouTube videos. I have been away for a few days at the beach in New Jersey in a town called Sea Isle City, and manufactured right here in Sea Isle City is a favorite hot sauce of mine called Hank's hot sauce. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a very delicious hot sauce. They actually make a variety of sauces. This is their kind of Hank's Heat, which is their general basic hot sauce. It's really good on, in fact, I put it on pizza tonight. It's really good on seafood. It's really good on just about anything. You could probably even put it in your Bloody Marys if you're into that kind of thing. So I recommend Hank's hot sauce. You can find it at most markets, or you could order it online if you're not in the East Coast, Philadelphia area. So highly recommend it. That's my recommendation.
Do a lot of hot sauce before your colonoscopy. A little surprising.
No,
I should have brought it down from the wall because I have Rick Furr's colonoscopy, which I used to show everyone. Yeah, I collect those people. Everybody's
Oh, you better be careful about what you're going to get sent in the mail now.
Yeah. Quick, if I can sneak in one more recommendation, the new Invisible Man film made in 2020, since we did a horror film earlier. Fantastic. It's the sort of film Universal tried to restart their classic series and it failed. Blumhouse did this one. It is absolutely amazing, scary, and the first 10 minutes will scare the bejabbers out of you. So I heavily, heavily recommend. If you're like me, you like intelligent horror, this fits the bill.